Okay, retroactive. This is the second to last topic that we're going to be discussing here in the capstone formations. And it's good to point out what retroactive is. I mean, this is the section where everything is pretty much pulled together and brought into perspective. So let's take a look here. So here we have a little symbol here, retroactive. I have an arrow on the top moving to the left, and underneath an arrow moving to the right. It's just some symbol I made up to show as we're moving in one direction, we're underneath it all, we're moving in another direction, the opposite direction. And there's a definition here for retroactive: fitted or designed to retroact, operating by returned action, affecting what is past, retrospective. We can thank Webster's Revised Unabridged Dictionary, 1996, for that definition. So, you know, that's really what the capstone formations have become, that the spirit left the first formation, got its way to the third, and now is looking to return back to the first formation. So we're operating by returned action. So when it comes to retroactive, let's deal with the top arrow here. So let's look at the forward progression that we have been making through this presentation. So to start off with, here's the three formations. We see formation 1 at the top, formation 2 next to it, then formation 3 on the bottom down here, and then the Paradise Valley map. So it's been a revelation in a forward progression, going from the smallest of a concept and then making our way to more larger, advanced, complex concept. You know, we saw the three elements sitting right out there in the first formation, then the leap into formation 2 to realize that there is a designer behind the design of the businesses within Paradise Valley. Then that holds true in the formation 3. To see that formation 3 is actually a puzzle, it's more complex. So it's not that I reverse engineered my way out of the third formation and made my way into a more simpler situation. You know, like I made my way from the third formation to the second to the first, and as if it was designed, you know, to make our way into the first formation. That's not the case. When we look at the dates, it's not the case. We'll see the dates here at the end of this. So it's a forward progression. And then for the map, we plotted the points in a forward progression as well. So it's been a forward revelation. Then when it comes to the trespassing sign that found its way embedded within each formation, we see for the note over here, in formation 1 we'd get a citation, right? But then formation 2, we saw that hidden message that was warning us about bodily harm being inflicted. And finally down here in formation 3, we saw death. So we see a message that becomes more deadly as progression is made through the levels. And again, that's a forward approach towards an ever increasing situation. So the formation map, here we see the spirit progressing forward through the formations, and we see it moving to the third formation. It's not necessarily making its way back to the first formation yet. It first needs to get there, you see. So Neil said he had the spirit, and making our way across the formations, we see a forward movement as well with the spirit. So now we got to the point in the presentation where we saw the curve of the formation, and then we plotted that curve, how it sat in Paradise Valley. And that is when the question was raised, why is formation 2 rotated? Okay, once that question was raised is when the reverse approach began. Okay, so we moved forward, saw all the elements. We saw all those particular situations, the map and all that, then pondered, why is it rotated? Then that set into motion more things being revealed, but it was helping towards the reverse approach. So from that point, then we connected the formations together to see this heartbeat. So here is the actual heartbeat drawn to proportions when the land masses are placed on top of one another. Then from there, seeing that heartbeat, then we're able to investigate deeper into the third formation to find Newland Realty. We see the curved heartbeat painted on the side of the building. We went ahead and compared then to see that the north view was the correct position to align with Newland Realty, and that more so is just letting us know that we're definitely looking at the curve the right way. Why that's important is to understand that the curve is pointing back to Capstone Cathedral. You see that it is now giving us direction. It's now giving us motion, and that is to go back, to follow the flow of the heartbeat. So, okay, so why is it retroactive? We're moving forward, we're moving backwards. So why is it retroactive? And that's important to point out. As we're moving forward, we're moving backward, and I'll show you here. So here is the three formations sitting in their positions. So we have 1, 2, and 3. First, second, and third formation. So now, the Spirit of God possessed people and had those people erect puzzle pieces within Paradise Valley. So the Spirit's moving in and out, okay, giving people ideas, influencing them, giving them ideas on businesses, influencing the economy, you see, stimulating the economy, if you will. And so they're going in with these ideas and actually creating these puzzle pieces. So the Spirit of God possessed people and had those people erect puzzle pieces within Paradise Valley. So now the puzzle pieces are revealed 1, 2, 3 as you move from east to west within Paradise Valley. You can see we can follow the arrow so that we're moving from east to west. So when the puzzle pieces are joined together, understand this, the puzzle is a heartbeat that flows from west to east. Okay? It flows from west to east. The Spirit had us move, this is to emphasize the point of retroactive. The Spirit had us move from right to left to find puzzle pieces that completes a puzzle that moves from left to right. So that's pretty interesting when you really think about it. We're moving from right to left to find pieces that complete a puzzle that moves from left to right, essentially. So to heighten that point even more, I put this arrow down here that's broken up, and we connect the pieces by the colors. We don't know exactly what the puzzle is, let's just say, but we start from the right and we make our way to the left. So we'll connect the blue to the blue, okay, and then the red to the red. Then we see what it is. It's an arrow, okay. We moved from right to left, but we made a puzzle, and its image is just telling us to now move from left to right. You see? So it's very interesting. So what does that mean now for us? So for me, it's telling me, David, the one who has the Spirit, you now need to go back, or you need to go to Capstone Cathedral and continue the ministry. See, just this alone isn't everything. The fact that, he can prove that he had a Spirit and it's telling him it needs to go and start preaching in this church. There's more to this situation than what has been revealed so far. We need to make our way into the master structure. That's a whole separate situation. Master structure and even the ancient riddle. But this is just the first steps to see that church, he is now the next pastor. That it's not just his idea of just wanting to preach there. It has been written within the land. You see, he is being called on the highest level to be the one in there to preach. They say, oh, I was called to preach. Yeah, prove it. No, he is literally being called to preach in such a grand magnitude. The land around him has been structured and orchestrated in such a way to prove he needs to be in there. All right, so let's watch this quick little video here. So we'll zoom in. We'll zoom in there. Then take me, right? Shrink me down there. And the heartbeat's all about going back. See, so I'm just flowing back to Capstone, going back. The Spirit had it planned out from the beginning. You see, who's got the Spirit of God? He has the Spirit of God. Okay? Neil started it off. Whatever people wanted to believe is one thing, but now here we are on the next level of things in the plan, so to speak. So move back. Go to Capstone Cathedral. That is your church. That is my church. So that sets up basically to emphasize the point, the capstone preacher. All right. So here we have the three formations, formation 1, formation 2, and we see formation 3, the puzzles put together. So here we got Neil Frisbee, who's living, who had lived there in the building. You see, the man that lives on this template is possessed by the Spirit of God and preaches within the Capstone Cathedral. So he preaches in there. That's the guy that preaches in there. Okay, he's the preacher. See, and then if you could imagine almost like an arm reaching out to grab the next preacher to preach in that church, we see Capstone Cathedral itself literally transitioning to go and get its next preacher. The sign moves over, the rainbow seats move over, the green pyramid moves over. Then here we have David Valentin. Here I am living on a mock-up template of Capstone Cathedral. So there's the house I lived in when all this began. So now to copy it over, the man that lives on this template is possessed by the Spirit of God and preaches within the Capstone Cathedral. And there we have a question mark. And, basically, it would be me out front of Cave Creek Center with a megahorn preaching from the sidewalk, essentially. But that's not what's happening here. I mean, this is a serious situation. And we can see, like I said, an arm basically reaching across the valley, showing who is the next preacher. Because Capstone Cathedral is just not any other church. You just can't have just anyone go in there and push the ministry to the next level. The Spirit planned on pushing the ministry to the next level through me. And we'll see what that is in the master structure. It's the third presentation. So the Spirit of God created copies of the Capstone Cathedral template and put the next preacher strategically on the template, possessed him, and now is trying to reclaim the Capstone Cathedral. So it's beyond just wanting to have a church. It's beyond all that. And again, like I said, and hopefully you can, I won't say sympathize, but hopefully you could understand I'm being put in a position. I'm being put in a position here. Okay? And I am doing as I need to do. So So understand that much. So looking at the dates here, I went through, I did my best job to get the dates. So Formation 1, Capstone Cathedral was completed in 1971. Formation 2, Cathedral Automotives, was built in 1989, and it was known as East Bell Automotive. Then later it became Cathedral Automotives in 1998. America's Cash Express was built in 1996. Neal's Market was built in 1975 and was actually known as U Totem. And there's actually a totem pole out there next on the side of the building. Then it became a Circle K, and now it's Neal's Market in 1998. Just Brakes moved in there in 1998. It used to be a Michelin. The American Karate Studio was built in 1976. Formation 3, Lim's Chinese Buffet, was built in 1982. Cave Creek Center, 1979. David's Residence was built in 1972, and my stepdad bought it in 1978, and we moved in 1993. Shadow Mountain Mortuary was built in 1980. Mega Video, 1992, is when it moved into the Cave Creek Center. Forest Junction, Florist, 1975. The Formation Map, Web Distributors, was built in 1995, and that's interesting because as you can see, we moved in there in 1994, and then in 1995 is when the Formation Map went up. Newland Realty. Now this here, the picture of the complete concept. The building was built in 1958. You know, and we have Alita's testimony where she says that the Heartbeat was painted in 1966. But still, when we look at this date here for Newland Realty, it's the oldest date up there. You see, so there's the dates. Like I said, I did my best job getting everything. And to see, Newland Realty was out there first. Newland Realty was out there, and even when it comes to 1966, when he supposedly painted the Heartbeat, that still trumps every other date. So Newland Realty came into existence, the Heartbeat was painted on it, and then everything began. Then all these pieces began to be set into motion. So it's in the third formation. You see, where it, essentially it starts out, where it ends, and kind of where it begins. But we have to move across starting in the first formation. You see. So very interesting. So there are the dates. So now I'll just briefly talk about Neal Frisbee so you can get an idea, understand a little bit about the man who built Capstone Cathedral. So here's a picture of Neal. Neal was born July 23rd, 1933 in Strong, Arkansas. Early in Neal's youth, the family moved to Paso Robles, California. At the age of 18, Neal got his master's degree in barbering. At the age of 27, in the form of a spirit, God came to Neal and told him he was going to use Neal to heal the sick. Neal began his healing ministry crusades. Neal would call out to the crowds for those with short limbs. Neal would pray for them, and the limbs would be lengthened. Neal claims the anointing power of God working through him created eardrums, eyeballs, tendons, bones, and muscles for those who are in need of spare body parts. And there's videos that you can get where people openly testify to him, you know, being the conduit that helped heal them through their faith. Neal wrote prophetic visions given to him by God. The published book Capstone, The Prophetic Scrolls, totaled a number of 74 scrolls with Neal's written prophecies. Neal and his family left California in the late 1960s to move to Arizona. God showed Neal the exact location of where to build a church. God also gave Neal design requirements on the building and what to call it: Capstone Cathedral. Capstone Cathedral was completed in 1971. It is a low pyramidal form building affixed with a capstone that bears the proper dimensions to replace the missing capstone on the Great Pyramid. Some believe there was never even a capstone in the beginning. That in the end, the capstone is the final sign of divine completion to the creation. You can see there's no capstone there on the Great Pyramid. You can see these older pictures at the top, the capstone, and there's basically nothing around it. And the valley has basically grown to swallow up this amazing temple. Many pictures of Neil and his church were taken that displayed the supernatural presence of God. And these photographs were taken from various sermon books. Supposedly capturing some sort of supernatural situations here. Neil wrote numerous books and made many audio and video recordings about his prophetic visions. Here's just front covers of various sermon books. This is just a few of them. So here are the video recordings. I just got a few screenshots of him inside Capstone Cathedral preaching. Neil Frisbee's books, audio cassettes, and videos are available at www.capstonecathedral.com. I'm sure if you search Neil Frisbee, you'll be directed to his website, and from there, you could purchase any of his books or manuscripts or videos, and they're really they're very unique and very inspiring. I'd say very inspiring. So if you get a chance, go to that website, and if you're interested, you could get yourself whatever you need. Neil made a series of 5-minute television broadcasts known as The World of Neil Frisbee. So here's some screenshots of the actual television broadcasts where he would go back and forth with Dan Allison about various topics, and he'd talk about it for 5 minutes. That was aired, I believe, after the news. So Neil signed over the church to Robert Brooks 5 months before he died. So here's some pictures of Robert. On April 29th, 2005, Neil passed away from natural causes. You can see. So there's a quick little history on the man who was summoned, inspired, influenced by the Spirit of God. And he built this church. He was told exactly where to put it, how to build it, but why has yet to be revealed. And now we can see there is a major something happening, that there is a designer and that there is a design. And through these presentations, that design is going to be revealed. It's very amazing. So in conclusion, let's take this one step at a time. You have seen the beginnings of a vast economic network that has been created by mankind, fueled by the Spirit of God's intentions for this world. Okay? It's nothing that I decided to do. There is a Spirit that has intentions. The Spirit of God's intentions were to create and manipulate Paradise Valley into a life-size game board that establishes 3 formations. The Capstone Formations tell the tale of a planned spiritual possession. The Spirit of God possessed a man named Neil Frisbee over 40 years ago and instructed Neil to erect Capstone Cathedral and openly testify to his spiritual possession. The Spirit of God possessed a man named David Valentin 13 years ago and had David document the businesses and buildings the Spirit of God had created with the intention to reveal to the world the Spirit of God does exist within him. You see? The Spirit of God wants to reclaim Capstone Cathedral within David Valentin. Neil Frisbee lived on the Capstone Cathedral property. David Valentin lives on a replica template of Capstone Cathedral. The Spirit of God has placed Capstone Cathedral's next chosen preacher in line with Capstone Cathedral's past preacher. Turn over Capstone Cathedral to David Valentin. And that's an order. Turn it over. If mankind was not given their visions and impulses to create and build, no businesses would have been built and no economy would be in place for the process of money to circulate. You see, I'm showing you the Spirit of God is definitely stimulating the economy. No economy, no work, no money, no food, so that equals a dead humanity. You see? So ultimately, to see where this presentation is going to go, as we make our way from here on out into the global game board, I'm going to be revealing over and over and over pretty much the same thing as we're just making our way down the line in and out of Phoenix, Arizona. This is ultimately where we're going. A global economic collapse will occur when the people that govern this nation deny my mission and my seat of authority to execute the changes that need to occur. As we see, this is more than just showing there's a spirit. You see, this world is in chaos, you see, and there's laws that we should be following that we're not. You see, and I will be the one to bring these laws and orders into effect. You see, and the Spirit has moved me into position. You see, I didn't always live in the third formation. So this was something that was being built, that was being planned out, and in I came. You see, so when it comes to a global economic collapse occurring, when the people that govern this nation deny my mission, it's not necessarily my mission, like I'm on a mission. You see, this is, the Spirit has intentions, you see, and I will follow through with them. You see, the Spirit's been creating, not me. So this is the Spirit's mission, not necessarily my own. So that's something to think about. It's all something to think about. So now we'll move over here to this map, and starting off on Tatum and Shea, that's where I'm going to put this heart. Okay, it's the heart. It's the center of the situation. We're going to move over to 32nd Street, up to Greenway Road, and cut across to Cave Creek, and come down just a little bit. And this little red dot with this little black dot is going to symbolize where we're going to stop. So we basically made our way up, down, and around there, and we traveled 6 miles. I set the odometer on my car and drove that, and it was 6 miles. So this much area we see here has been influenced. People around it have been influenced by the Spirit, as Neil was influenced by the Spirit, as I'm being influenced by the Spirit. It's not just me. You see, the valley was influenced. Not just me. I won't say everyone. All right? So that's the length that we've traveled. So now to keep my promise here, as I told you in the beginning, as we completed each presentation within the Star Trilogy, I was going to place an image within each box so you can see how the concept is basically carrying over as we're making our way into the master structure. Master structure, what is that? You'll see as we make our way towards it. So the Capstone Formations, the highlight was essentially the puzzle. In a way, we kind of stopped there on the puzzle. And we made our way from Formation 1, made our way into Formation 2, and then Formation 3. And Formation 3 was a puzzle. And we saw Formation 3 was a replica of Formation 1. So there's a lot more information that can be derived from that concept. And what that concept is going to take us into the next presentation, which is the Capstone Starburst. So I hope that this has been inspiring, and I hope that it will influence you to pick up the Torah scroll and read it and start practicing what it says. You see, I'm showing you that document talks about a spirit that judges us, and there's rules and laws in there that we need to follow. And science wants its proof. It wants to be able to measure and weigh things before it makes any sort of assumption, you see. So here's my proof that I've been given to reveal, you see. So so let it all sink in. If you need to, watch this video or these videos again, and I'll see you in the next presentation, which is the Capstone Starburst.